Good morning, traders. Matrix here. It's November 23rd, 11:30 a.m. And here is my recap for my small account challenge version 2. Okay, so today I traded Apple, and here are my tickets. As you can see on the 1 minute chart, I have already marked off all my trades. Do that pre-advance before I start the recording. That way, the video in itself will be a lot less painful to watch. Okay, just gonna talk about my P&L first real quick. Today was a green day, up $23 and a half. I took 4 trades on Apple, which is actually one too many. I opened up today at 13,964, ending it up at 13,987. We have 12 tickets, which is a little bit too much for my liking, considering this is a very small account. So the commission's going to eat up a lot of my profits here today. However, it is a green day, and there is a massive trade that I want to show you guys. A fantastic trade, actually. And coincidentally, I think Trick was watching Apple as well today, and he didn't took the same exact entries, or I didn't take the same exact entries that he did. He never really notified his entries to us today, but I personally took it, and I know he took it on Apple, and he made huge money. I made a nice green trade. So overall, it was a good day in the trading chat room. All right, so I want to talk about Apple. Apple was on my watch list last night as a main watch. This morning when I woke up and I checked everything, to be quite honest, I didn't wake up till exactly 9:30 a.m., which is pretty crazy. I stayed up late last night studying, and 9:30 a.m. I rolled out of bed, boot up my computer real quick, still in wake up mode. All right, by the time my computer booted up 2 minutes later, got all the charts up and everything, Apple was the main play. All right. I talked about this last night on my watch list. I was saying on the daily chart, I was expecting the SPY to, let's bring in the SPY. I was expecting the SPY to gap down, and then the movement would be a pop into some sort of a resistance, and then a slow fade out day since we're having a short day. So SPY did exactly that. It dropped pre-market out of the gates, and then right at the open, it pops. All right. So let's move that over. And according to following the thesis on the SPY, my plan for Apple was gonna be basically looking for a gap down. I was saying yesterday, let's take a look at yesterday here real quick. Yesterday, I was calling for a gap down and looking for a gap down under 175 and then pop back up, and then to hold 175 and then fall from there. Now, it's not exactly as I planned at the key marks and areas. However, we did get this gap down, and we did get under 175. So my initial thought on it was to risk on the first whole number, or 175, and look for that rejection signal. Not necessarily risk, but look for that rejection signal at every whole number. Okay. Going in, let's get into the trades. Let's bring this in right here. All right, show you guys my tickets, all time stamped. Okay, I've already marked off. The green arrows are my entries, the red arrows are my exits. You'll also see bubbles here. Bubbles are also my entry marks. They're exact to the price as well. And short bubbles or sell bubbles are going to be in red. Buy bubbles are going to be in green. All right, so right out of the gates, this is when the computer loaded up, and I did see this come down and then pop back up, and I was anticipating this pop. So as it pops back up here, and I saw it reject this pretty massive seller's candle, I saw it reject the 1750s area, the 200 SMA. I basically was getting primed and ready. Okay, the next candle It came down, held the 9, finished up. All right. And I'm still not believing this buyer's candle at this point. So what did I do? I shorted it right at the open of this candle as it was coming down, and it broke the body of the previous candle. I took that short entry right here, and the entry was 175.34. My initial idea was to risk 175.50s over and under, right? However, it popped up so fast that I I I just couldn't cover it, right? And in the meantime, while I was seeing this pop up run up, uh, basically a part of me held on and told myself that, hey, I should be risking a little bit above this high right here. Okay, so let's mark that off. I should be risking a little bit above here. Okay. Um, so 175.50 was a little too tight for my liking. I let it run, and eventually it broke through. I then got stubborn because this mark doesn't make sense to me. It wasn't a whole number or psychological resistance mark or anything like that. As we scroll back, as you can see, let's scroll back a little bit. This area was not the risk here did not make sense to me for me to stop out here. It's a 75 cents mark, yeah, but I guess I got stubborn. To be quite honest, it's kind of like a bag hold, and I really wanted to hold this through and watch and make sure this candle finishes before I make any type of decision. All right, I didn't want to just panic out once the stop blew through. So I wanted to wait for the candle to close and see what happens next. So the candle closed. Good thing I took small size, by the way. So as this ran up, it didn't really hurt me. But as the candle closed, the next candle opened down, rejected the 176, and started coming back down. So while I was in this trade, I didn't panic. I wanted to see the close of the next of this candle first before I really stop out. And then the next candle really baited me in because it opened down and then it flushed. So I'm thinking, okay, there is still hope here. Now, after seeing this candle, I'm thinking it's topped out at 176, key whole number. Let's use that. Okay, so I still held. I didn't cover. I didn't take this chance to cover because I was still in the losing position. I did thought about adding if it came back up and rejects, but by this point, my entry was so bad and so far down the way, I didn't take that ad. So the next candle opens higher. We got a buyer's candle, and the next candle, it pushed through. Once it pushed through 176, this time I really followed my risk and my rules. Most of the time, I would wait until this candle closes and then see what happens on the next candle. But because my entry was so shitty and I was so far away, I couldn't risk holding through this much more pain. So eventually I stopped out here and took a loss of 70 cents. So that's 35 bucks down the hole. Not a great way to start the day. However, I was watching this still because Apple was very interesting for me. I was still watching it, and was watching it make a tweezer top, reject, okay, reject the 176 again. And I'm thinking, okay, this is totally a fake out breakout. And as I watched this candle, I was looking for kind of like the money spot. Yeah, I was looking for the money spot. And if you don't know what the money spot is, if you look into my Tech Tuesday videos, I explained what the money spot is. Basically, I was looking into the money spot by this time. I saw it. I saw this candle fail, got bought back up. And then the next candle opened, and a perfect flush of the 176 mark right here. Now, uh, this blue line is also the pre-market opening price. So before I even came over the trick trades, I talked about this blue line, and I always mark it off. It's the pre-market opening price, and I marked this off already in the morning. I saw this red candle flush. Uh, so potentially this is kind of like my money spot right here, and I saw this candle, the next candle, come down, reject this pre-market opening price hard. So what I did is, as soon as this candle broke the previous candle, I took the short. And then, learning from my mistakes from the first trade, I basically paid myself as soon as possible as the next candles opened up, and it couldn't break through. Well, it broke through the VWAP and then came right back up. Okay. And I was thinking, okay, gotta learn this lesson, take some money. And I took half of my profits at the 48 mark. So I made 30 cents on that. And then the rest I stopped out right at my opening because I didn't want to turn this trade to a red trade. Mainly because of my first trade being a loss, right? So I took this profits as soon as possible. Ideally, I was supposed to wait until this price action got back up and over into the money spot again, but I didn't. So just took my money quick there. This in itself is a mistake, to be quite honest. So that's two mistake. This is taking profits a little too early and not trusting my plan. This is getting in too early and not cutting out quick enough, but it is what it is. So a red trade for the first trade, a green trade, a very small green trade for the next trade. And once I covered, I was watching it once again. Now I saw this parabolic move up, and then it double topped. And Trick called this double top as well. I saw this double top. This was a very apparent double top, and it double topped at exactly 176.50, which is a key psychological whole number. All right. So I'm thinking double top. We have a tweezer, and I took this short here as soon as the candle broke down under the previous candle. All right. So this was my entry right here, which is 176.28, and I took that short, risking a little bit above the previous high, right about here. All right, that was my short entry, and my target. Well, my target, I was anticipating it to come down to the VWAP again, but as we see, we came back down into this money spot, and it kind of held. So I paid myself. As this came down and came back up, I paid myself because it's showing signs that's about to hold. I paid myself half, I believe. Where was this? No, I paid myself 3/4 right here. All right. So 37 shares off. This is about a 45 cent gain, if my math serves me right. So 28 plus 13, 20 plus 13, 35 cents gain. 28, 13, 40 cent gain. Yeah, whatever, but it is what it is. I paid myself here, and then I set the stop, I set the stop and watched this ride back up and stopped out at kind of like a break-even point here. So, oh, no, not this one. Let me bring up the other tool. So I didn't want, again, I didn't want this trade to be a losing trade, so I stopped out right there. Okay. And then the stock came back up and made a triple top. I'm like, holy cow, triple top. I didn't make this entry here because it was so fakey, right? It made a double top, pulled back into the money spot and bounced, and then triple top again. And then I didn't trust this just because for the previous three trades and the action, it was so fakey and choppy. This time I really wanted it to confirm. So ideally, I was supposed to take it again. when I saw this lower high, at that time I didn't recognize it, but now in hindsight I'm seeing it. This lower high was definitely a perfect entry, and I think I'm just taking a guess here because Trick didn't announce it. I think he took this. I think he took this entry. He has a really good habit, and he has this knack of taking these massive entries. So I think he took an entry right here. I'm just going to take a guess here. As soon he probably saw this lower high and the triple top as well. So I think he took this entry. I missed this flush back down to the VWAP, which was very disappointing. However, on the next candle, it popped back up. This flush right through the money spot once again, right? So as this thing comes back up and failed the pre-market opening price, which is also the bottom end of my money spot, I was looking for it. And the next candle opens. It opens as soon as it breaks the VWAP, the previous candle spotty. I got in, and here is my entry right at 175.5. Okay, so I'm thinking this is super weak. We have triple top, we have a flush of the money spot, and we have massive volume coming in, significant volume. As this came back up and it failed, I told myself that it was weak, and I basically anticipated for the snap of 175.50. So when I took this trade resolution right away, I did not pay myself because my target was 175 and it never got there first. So once I took this trade, actually wrong button again. Once I took this trade, my target was right here. All right. And it never reached. So I just held it. And once it got closed, I saw this reach and I was getting greedy. I'm thinking, okay, 175, if it snaps, all the stop losses will come and it will flush. However, it didn't. And the very next candle, it looked like it held. The very next candle, I covered half just to pay myself some. Okay, it opened higher. This candle opened higher, so I covered half here, and then the rest, I was just it was just history. I was just sitting, waiting, and watching. And once I paid myself here, my idea was to set the stop back up either above this previous green candle right here, this green candle, or my entry price, or I was risking a little bit above VWAP. I had a choice to make, but it never reached. So I basically just sat and watched it as this flush. Once again, it finally snapped 175, but it popped right back up. I'm thinking, oh my Lord, is this going to be a fake out again? Okay, take half again. So I took half because it's a nice flush, right? So I took half again and basically let this thing ride. Now let's zoom out real quick. I want to show you what happened with the chart. So this was my prior cover, and I was basically just watching this. And from here, I was thinking, okay, time to go 174. And we held this last quarter bit. And as I was in this trade, I think Trick was also in this trade. We were talking about this in the chat room. A lot of other members were in this trade because we're beasts inside the Trick Trades chat room. So we were just riding this for the next, how long? Jesus. For the next 40 minutes, we were just riding this, okay? And I started marking out this trend line, okay? So initially, I marked out the trend line kind of like this. Right, I linked it to this top and this top, and I marked it off. And this candle gave me a little bit of confusion, or, well, not confusion, emotional scare here, because I wanted to hold this trade for as long as I could, right? So 174 mark is right here. It snapped. We're all celebrating, and then when it came back up, this candle kind of gave me a confusion or kind of like an emotional stir. I was already contemplating of covering it, but I held on to my conviction, and it snapped again, and then it rejected and snapped again. All right. As it came down, this candle once again gave me some emotional stirs, and I didn't cover. I didn't cover. Okay. Um, and then it basically reclaimed at 174. So I want to mark off 174 for you guys. The target was hit. The target was 174. Okay. So by this point, I'm like, target hit. Okay. I could take it off or I could just let it ride. But as it came back up, I eventually covered it because it reclaimed 174. It reclaimed really hard. I know Trick covered this candle right here, if not this candle, when he saw this bounce and made the first higher low. So if you take a look at this right here, it's very subtle. This green candle popped up hard. It opened higher, right? We still held. And then this red candle is a buyer's candle, but it made a higher low. So I think that's the reason why Trick got out so perfectly right here at 174. I waited a little bit. This is a mistake holding this. I should have seen this subtlety of the higher lows and this massive green bar, but I didn't, and I refused to believe it. As soon as this trend line broke out, I should have get out. However, I was up a lot from this trade, so I was up all the way from here. So it's not really that big a deal. I gave some money back. I could have waited to see what happens at the 50 EMA. However, at this point in time, because it is a small account challenge and every little bit counts as I build the account, I should have took it off earlier. If my account was larger, if this wasn't a small account challenge, I would have waited and see what happens at the 50 EMA first. And of course, this thing flushed right back down, and now it's down a lot. Well, TFS just kind of logged out on me, so I got to log back in. Okay, so that's it. Now, as we're watching Apple right now, this thing is still going down, man. I mean, it's beautiful. It's 173 right now, and the initial plan was for the gap down, pop and drop. And last night in my watch list, I was talking about this. I was looking at the daily chart, and I was talking about this gap fill right here. Back in what, May? Is it even the same year? Yeah, it's the same year. So I was talking about this gap fill. This is exactly what I was looking for. But I lack the patience to hold it through. I think it's going to be a nice swing on the gap fill as it snapped this 174. And yeah, so we'll see. Keep watching what's going on with Apple here. And we'll see if it actually fills the gap within the next few days. So let's zoom back out. Pull back in. Yeah, so here is that gap I want to see filled. This gap right here. And my idea was for it to fill the gap. Bring it all the way down to 170. So Apple looking very weak right now. It does look like it wants to fill the gap. Had I held, impossible. No way I would have held through. No way I would have held through all this up and downs with my account size and with this challenge. But had I held, it would have been great because this is 2.5 points now to where I entered, and Apple is still looking weak. So, all right. So that's the recap. It is Black Friday. If you didn't watch to the end of my watch list last night, I made a special announcement. It's Black Friday. Trick Trades is having a major discount on both their trade ideas scam packages, which are beast scanners. Okay, they're awesome. And he is also doing a major discount on his DVDs right now. Personally, I think I'm going to be buying the options DVD, the boss strategy. I know I don't trade options right now, but at this discount, it's pretty hard to refuse because if I don't, I can buy it right now, watch and learn it later. It's a skill set that I'm investing into myself for the future. And if in the future I grow out of trading equities and look into trading options, then that DVD will definitely come in handy. I know with Trick's strategy, a lot of his members are already using that DVD and trading options, and most of them have only $1,000 accounts, and they're killing it in the option strategy. So even with a small account to trade that strategy, they are killing it. The average percent rate, so average percent win rate for them is 80 to 100% on each trade. And when they hit that 80 to 100% options trade, it's just a walk in the park. It's kind of like me taking a trade, hitting points versus people trying to scalp for the 20, 30 cents, right? Points and 80 to 100% in options at trick trades, it's a walk in the park. I know there's a member who hit this Apple trade on the option side today, and they made 200%. All right, using Trick's Boss Assassin DVD. So definitely head on over and check it out. The prices are good. It's a good investment in yourself because you are important. You're trading because you want to change your life. So think about that. The sale will be over by midnight, and make sure you check the link for where the sale is going to happen. It's going to be in my video description. Thanks for watching, guys. Ciao.